Hey BookTube, Chelsea the Reading Outlaw here to do the first of my most anticipated 2019 videos. I am hoping to make these quarterly videos, which means there will be one now. There will be one at the end of March for April for the next set of months, doing them every 3 months. So this first chunk will cover January, February, and March. They are mostly in order from release date, I'm pretty sure, unless I missed one. There were 70-something books on my most anticipated 2019 list, but that just seemed a bit overwhelming to try to give to you guys. So I've narrowed it down to 10 in each quarter. So there's going to be 40 books total, and that seems like maybe an actual number of books that I could potentially read over the course of 3 months while also reading all the other things. Fingers crossed, friends. We're trying to make better goals here in 2019. So starting at the beginning of the month is the book Night Chaser by Amanda Bouchette. This comes out on January 1st, so it's actually already out. Yeah, I did not have very good luck with Amanda Bouchette's first series. You guys will know if you watched my Old School Sexy Saturdays videos that I really did not get along with The Promise of Fire. I really just didn't. I don't know if it's because I was new to the genre of fantasy romance or because it was just something about the time and place in which I read that book, but it just really rubbed me the wrong way. I'm very, very pleased to say that I'm like 75-ish pages into this next one. Sorry if you guys can hear my heater just kicked on. I'm really sorry. And it's so good. It's so deliciously good. It's about a group of escaped convicts, the medical lab they steal in order to provide an antidote to diseases that are wreaking havoc on their home country. Like I said, I'm only about 75 pages in, but it's promising to be a really, really fast-paced, hard-hitting, tense romance, and I really, really am loving this sci-fi world that Amanda Bouchette is building, much more so than I did her fantasy world. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the rest of this pans out. Next up is another one I've already read. This one comes out January 8th. It's Once Ghosted, Twice Shy by Alyssa Cole. This is the first novella in her Reluctant Royal series, so it's book 2.5, basically. This is the story of Lakotsi, who is the personal manager to the prince that we meet in the first book, and she, about 6 months ago, was ghosted, and now the woman who ghosted her is back in her life. So it's kind of a missed connections, friends to lovers, but also enemies to lovers, like a weird kind of dynamic, and it just unpacks beautifully in a really short amount of space. I don't read enough novellas or enough female romance, so this checked both boxes, and I just love Alyssa Cole so much. This is not the only Alyssa Cole that you're going to see in this list. Next up is The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. This book comes out on January 15th, and I have been promised that this book is just full of all the good Roshani things that she does. Hades, Persephone, darkness and light, slither, puffin, and unrequited, star-crossed, all those really good things. I've heard it's kind of bloody and kind of gory, and Roshani just does such wonderful things with her YA fantasy worlds that to get one that has such good, deep romantic promises, I'm just very, very excited. I haven't actually looked at a ton of the plot on this one because I really like going into Roshani's book Surprise, but Sam from Thoughts on Tomes has talked about it, and she is a huge Hades Persephone trope story fan, and she said that this one is like her new baby. Her excitement for it has me all kinds of ready to go, and I am just so excited for this book to hit the shelves. Next up is a follow-up to a book that I read this year and really liked. It's 99% Mine by Sally Thorne. Sally Thorne wrote The Hating Game this year that I've read a couple of times and really, really liked. And this promises to be another kind of enemies, adversaries, tension to lovers kind of deal. Are you guys picking up on like a theme? In which a woman and her brother who have just inherited a cottage from their grandmother and are told specifically to refurbish it, then meet the guy who's there to do all the fixing up. He is that property brother who does all the construction, and he's there, and of course she is there trying to keep her twin brother from making all these disastrous design decisions. Sparks are flying. Sally Thorne writes such great banter that I'm very, 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 very excited for this one to come out, and I'm sure that the minute it drops onto my Kindle, I'll spend the rest of that day reading it. It comes out at the very end of the month on January 29th, and I am just keeping my fingers crossed and have my hopes so high that this is a good, like, second sophomore novel to The Hating Game. Next up is a title that I had not heard a ton about until I was browsing some lists of like really great, exciting, like queer young adult stuff that's coming out next year. It's The Cerulean by Amy Ewing, and I'm just going to read you guys the description because that is what automatically sold me. Sarah has always felt as if she didn't belong among her people, the Cerulean. She's curious about everything and can't stop questioning her 3 mothers, her best friend Leela, and even the High Priestess. Sarah has longed for the day when the tether that connects her city above to the above the sky to the earthly world below finally severs and sends the cerulean to a new planet. But when Sarah is chosen as the sacrifice to break the tether, she doesn't know what to feel. To save her city, she must throw herself from the edge and end her own life. But something goes wrong and she survives the fall, landing in a place called Kaelin. She has heard tales about the humans there, and soon learns that the dangers her mother warned her about are real. If Sarah has any hope to return to her city, she'll have to find the magic within herself to survive. When I first read the description, it almost reminded me as this kind of Xana Don't, but not funny, which if you're unfamiliar with that musical, it's about a world in which queerness is the dominant narrative, and then heterosexuality or heteronormativity comes up to kind of supplant it, and so the roles of heteronormativity and homonormativity are reversed, if that makes any sense. And I kind of got that vibe from here, but there's also like clearly some like chosen one tropes going on and some really great like potential queer stuff, and I'm really excited to get to this. I haven't had the best luck with some of Amy Ewing's work in the past, but the description really sold me, and so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. That one also comes out on the 29th of January, so sneaking it in right at the end of the month. Then moving on, February also has some absolutely stunning books. The first one is Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. If you're unfamiliar, Marlon James got a ton of acclaim for The Brief History of Seven Killings that came out 2 or 3 years ago. Time is a flat circle. But I really am looking forward to this one. It's being pitched as the Jamaican Game of Thrones. It's supposed to be one of the big fantasy titles of the year. I'm so excited to see a person of color take on this truly high epic fantasy style and give us all those like familial court wars, dynamics, and intrigues, and all those moving pieces. That's one of the things I love the most about the Game of Thrones books, and I'm hoping it can do it with like less rape and misogyny and really gross stuff. Please, Marlon James. I'm actually really hopeful, but I'm really looking forward to this one. It's a chunker. It's going to take a while, but I am really looking forward to. It's been a while since I've had like a big fantasy tome I could just like sink my teeth into, and I'm really looking forward to getting back to this one. And then the next one is Polaris Rising by Jessie Mihalik. And my only pitch for this book is space princess meets like space soldier, spy, assassin, guy, team up to do a thing. That's really all I have about it. That's all that I need to go on. That, plus hearing a bunch of people in Romancelandia squeeing about this book when it came across their timeline. I am really looking forward to this one. I have a really good feeling this is going to be the year of like SF romance, and the year that I've done a lot of fantasy romance, but I'm really looking forward to digging into like the sci-fi side of things and further meshing my two worlds that I love so much. Both Black Leopard, Red Wolf, and Polaris Rising both come out February 5th. So not too long after a double release day in January, there's another one in February that's going to keep everybody busy. And then coming in at the very end of the month of February on the 26th is another Alyssa Cole book. This is An Unconditional Freedom. This is the third book in her Loyal League series, which are a set of books that take place during the American Civil War and largely in the American South. These books are really impactful to read because I know, and Alyssa talks about how difficult they can be for her to write. And so there's something about the extra care and attention and passion that I know that she has put into it that comes across on the page. Alyssa makes some of the best heroines coming across in historical romance these days, regardless of what time period you're focusing on. I love every word Alyssa puts down, and I'm just so excited to see how this next story really unfolds. If you are looking for a historical romance that's not white Regency ballrooms, please go check out this series of books by Alyssa Cole, The Loyalist League. They are so amazing. I don't have any more words for them, and I'm so glad to be rounding out what's going to be a really exciting month with that particular book. And then literally like 4 or 5 days after that, we have one of my first nonfiction titles of the year that I'm super excited for. It's The Lady from the Black Lagoon, Hollywood Monsters, and the Lost Legacy of Millicent Patrick. This is such a good Venn diagram of so many things that I love, which is like niche pop culture thing, horror thing, feminist thing, movie making thing, all in the different Venn diagrams, and then right in the middle is this book. So from what I know from the jacket copy, Millicent Patrick is literally like a lost woman who created the monster, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the movie creature that's terrified millions, and then credit for her work got stolen by, ding ding, you guessed it, a dude, and literally she disappeared. And so this is looking at her story. It's also looking at the role of women in like Hollywood horror, and the disappearance of them and the overriding of them and just kind of the general theme of overriding women while looking specifically at the life of Millicent Patrick. Guys, this book is so niche and I'm so excited for it. And I already have an art copy and I'm trying so hard to wait until closer to March 5th so I don't forget everything about it that I read. But I'm just very, very, very excited. And then the very last book that I have to talk about is another nonfiction book. This one also comes out March 5th, so it's going to be a busy month in March. It's called She, He, They, Me, Sisters, Misters, and Binary Resistors by Robin Ryle. And let me read you, this paragraph about this book is the thing that finally cemented it for me. She, He, They, Me is a unique and engagingly creative take on an increasingly complex concept, the concept of gender. A non-traditional, non-linear structure allows readers to choose their own path, from a patriarchal culture to a scenario where sex doesn't even exist and beyond. This method of individual exploration will help readers gain the understanding and confidence they need to engage in meaningful conversations about gender. Which, to be fair, is a very tall order and a very big promise for a book, but I am very much so looking forward to getting into this nonfiction exploration of gender and gender identity. It sounds like it's not going to be the most in-depth book, but I feel like for me at this moment in time, in terms of my own level of understanding, that's probably okay. I will report back on how the interactive elements worked, but it just sounds like a really, really interesting, formatted way of talking about a thing that is becoming more and more and more important and prescient and prevalent for people to understand and be able to talk about with sensitivity and fluidity. So there you have it, friends. 10 books in the next 3 months that I'm hoping to read. Fingers crossed, turn around backwards, spit over your left shoulder, all of these get read. I'm actually hoping to do a video at the end of the quarter to let you know how successful I was with reading these anticipated books. But the best laid plans, friends. The best laid plans. So until then, I'm just going to sign off by saying that I hope you have some very much so anticipated books for 2019. Let me know down below what they are so I can add them to my really just disgusting and ever-growing mountain of TBR books. And until next time, friends, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and have happy reading.